Good evening, and welcome to Voice of the Parrot. I'm your host, Shasta Ray, and I am coming to you once again from the bird room. I've got everyone here. I've got the giant dog. He is breathing heavy and being annoying in that way. I've got all the budgies. I've got a cockatiel that's taking a nap, and I've got a little mini macaw on my lap biting my fingers. She's just playing and chewing on me. Here we are. Oh my gosh. It's what's it been, like 3 weeks since I put out an episode? Oh my gosh. I do want to apologize to all of you for seemingly have vanished, or I hope you don't think I forgot about you. It hasn't been that I haven't wanted to put out an episode. It's not that I haven't tried. I want to say I've tried recording probably at least 20 times on this episode, and I've scrapped it each time. For the past 3 full weeks, I have not been able to get a decent episode recorded for you guys. And so I thought maybe instead of trying to talk about birds and trying to talk about the content that I was thinking I was going to put out, maybe I would just sit and talk about bird podcast hosts. Yeah, I want to talk about me just a little bit and tell you what's going on and why I'm struggling so much. Oh my gosh. So I've mentioned a couple episodes back. I'm not sure exactly when I did, but I know I mentioned I'm unemployed right now. And that has been a tremendous stress. I can't tell you what kind of stress this is. I'm looking for work, and at 57 years old with some limitations, it's proving to be quite the challenge. People don't want 57-year-olds, and they don't want anyone that really is going to do better working remotely. I do better working remotely. I have some health restrictions, and I have some stuff that sets me back a little bit. So anyway, the job search has been very difficult at best, and I've decided to engage in some schooling so that I can maybe increase my skill set and make myself more valuable to somebody somewhere. I'm finding some resources as to where to post my resume and places I might be able to find jobs that are a little bit better fit. So if anyone out there is actually hiring right now and you're looking for remote workers, by all means, hit me up. Let's see if it's a good fit. I would love to talk to you. VoiceOfTheParrot@gmail.com. Hit me up. I'm also found on Facebook and Instagram. You can message me there. We can connect up and talk. Okay. So beyond that, here I am doing some schooling, doing some job hunting stuff, all that good stuff. And it's draining my time, quite frankly. That's not an excuse. It's just how it is. I have to put my focus there right now. I've had a few people ask me through all of this, but what about your podcasts? How come you're not making a living off of them? And I have to laugh because apparently people don't understand how podcasting works. So unless you're a major celebrity doing a podcast, you don't make money at it. You've got to be out there with a podcast that is appealing to hundreds of thousands of people before you make money at it. And when it comes to something like animals, especially something as obscure and specialty as birds, parrots, it's hard to find the listener base. I do have you guys, and you're coming in from all over the world, mostly the US, but I have many of you in many countries that tune in every week and hang out with me. But it's not enough. I have a few hundred of you, not a few 100,000 of you, or not even a few thousand of you. And you've got to have those numbers up to be able to advertise on a podcast. Nobody wants to advertise if you don't have numbers where they should be. So nobody's going to hear those ads, and it's not worth it to those advertisers if they don't feel like it's hitting enough eardrums. So that's one way you make money off podcasting. The other way is through Patreon. I've set up a Patreon, but at this point in time, nobody has engaged in supporting that. So it's $2.99 a month. That's very little, and it won't cover the bills. Trust me, I'm not going to be retiring off of that anytime soon. I promise you. If you are worried about your money making me rich, I promise you it's not even going to cover the expenses of putting on this podcast. So how much does it cost to put on a podcast? Well, I've got a host site that I have to pay. I have a website. I have 2 websites I have to pay. I have licensing. I have equipment and software that I have to pay for. And then there's the time expenditure. And for a half-hour episode, I would say an average of 3 to 5 hours goes into what ends up being a half-hour production. So for a half-hour episode, you have at least 2.5 hours in the edit time. That's a big time sucker. There's a little bit of work into the detail parts of getting an episode published, and that's kind of the small end of things. But even the research for each episode, I might put in anywhere from 1 to 6 hours during the week of researching a topic. So at the end of the day, a half-hour episode every week could actually end up representing anywhere from, let's just say, 4 on up to 12 hours, just depending on how that episode goes, how the recording process goes, how the editing goes, and how the research goes. So there's a lot of time that goes into a production I don't get paid for, and it's a labor of love. I enjoy it. I'm passionate about it, and trust me, I would do this all day, every day, if I was independently wealthy and I had that at my disposal. Trust me, I would do whatever I could to make the world a better place and do it just because. But the unfortunate truth is that I've got bills to pay. I've got a mortgage. I've got to feed these animals. I've got to feed myself. I live very, very, very frugally. I barely leave the house unless I'm going to go to the grocery store or I need to go out and get something done, accomplished. And most of the time I am here working on stuff or caring for birds or caring for the dog. And here again, all of it is a labor of love. I'm not complaining. What I am doing is being very transparent with you guys about where I am with my situation and where this podcast falls into that situation. So while I'm trying to find some employment and make sure that I can, keep everything together and not lose stuff, at the same time, I really could use you guys' help out there. There are a few ways that you can show your support and help me out. Oh my gosh. Let's just chat about it. Okay, so first and foremost, I did set up a Patreon recently, and I have it at a support only tier, and that's all I've got out there. So it's $2.99 a month. That's not much, but if I got a handful of supporters out there, that could easily help cover the costs of just the production every week, just the mundane costs, the hosting, the licensing, everything that goes into that. If that's not your thing, you want to just, maybe kick me a one-time tip. You got a lot of use out of one episode. Hey, I've got to buy me a coffee. That's you can tip whatever you want. Once or ongoing. Up to you. If you're not someone that likes to just kick money for no reason, like you have to have a reason to spend your money, that's cool too. You know what? I've got wingmanbirdsupply.com, and right now it's only set up for the USA only. I can't do anything outside of the country, but I've got sprout kits. I've got 2 different sprout kits so you can grow your own sprouts for your birds. I'm looking into different types of seeds and different types of sprouts that are really easy to grow in those kits, so you have more of a choice. And then I've got 3 different seed blends. I've got for tiny beaks, small beaks, and now medium-sized beaks. Oh my gosh, go check that out. If you like the cook and serve type product for your birds, if you got parrots that like that sort of thing, I've got a stovetop cook and serve product. And now I call it a freeze-dried biscuit. It's actually freeze-dried chop. It's got a very good blend of human-grade grains and veggies and some legumes in it. And that is a little bit more expensive, but it is high-grade food, and I don't use anything artificial in it. It's as organic as I can get it. And here again, everything is human-grade. For the ingredients, it is a really good product, and it's one of the only things I can successfully get Emmy to eat on a regular basis, to be honest with you. So, if you would like to show your support, go check out wingmanbirdsupply.com and maybe one of my products will work for you. I would love to be able to help some people out with that. If you're looking for some t-shirts or a sweatshirt, or you want something custom in that sense, I can do that too. I don't really have that on the website right now. I do have a little bit of merch, but I can do custom work. So let me know. And with the custom work, sometimes on some of that, I can sell to other countries also. It just depends where you're at, and I need to look into it. Sometimes the shipping is just exorbitant, so it might not be worth it if you're outside of the U.S. But if you're in Canada, I know I've got a good listener base in Canada. That would apply to you too. I can sell in Canada very easy, and it's not too much of a stretch for that shipping cost. So anyway, yeah, check out the website, wingmanbirdsupply.com, and see if there's anything there that might suit your needs. I would love to be your supplier. I have plans for some new products coming out, and I am also engaging in working on some digital downloads that might make some people's lives a little easier that way too. Oh my gosh, holy cow. So yeah, those are some of my struggles right now, and I would very much like to keep this podcast going, but I'm kind of in survival mode. I'm in a little bit of a panic mode, and the truth of the matter is there's a lot of expense that's associated with putting on a podcast, and at some point in time in the near future, in the upcoming months, if I'm unable to generate the income to foot the bill myself, I'm going to have to just shut it down. That's the reality of it. I don't want to, but putting food in the mouths of my birds comes first. So at the very least, we will keep this going on until May. That's when my renewal on my contract for my hosting flips over. And at that point in time, if I'm unable to afford to keep this going, I will keep it going on YouTube. There's no costs in posting it on YouTube. So you might want to head over to the YouTube channel and do a subscribe and turn on your notifications. And that might be where I end up in the near, 6-7 months from now. It could be that I switch over just to a YouTube only. So we'll see what happens. I really love podcasting, and I think there's advantages of podcasts over videos. Not everyone agrees with that, so I won't get into that discussion today at any rate. But yeah, it's been very stressful. So at the risk of sounding like I'm just sitting here complaining about my life, I'm not. I'm just telling you the reality of what's going on right now. But I will say one thing though. For whatever reason, this little mini macaw came into my life. She is very sensitive to my moods, and when she senses that I'm under stress, she does everything she can to get close to me and take care of me. I haven't even had this bird 2 months yet. How amazing is that? And she is still a little reactive. She'll kind of nip at me if she doesn't expect my hand coming up at her feet or something. I have to let her know I want her to step up. Otherwise, she'll kind of wave her beak around at me. But she is the most sweet, amazing animal. And where she isn't there to take care of me, Murray is climbing all over me, taking care of me, and making sure I'm in a good mood and that I keep my chin up. These birds are amazing for that. There has been days that I just sit with Emmy, and whatever her situation was that caused her to pluck so badly, I am so blessed. She's growing all of her feathers in. The attention and love that I'm giving this bird is changing her for the better. She doesn't have a big bald patch anymore. She's trying to take care of her feathers. And she is so covered in pin feathers. She looks like a little hedgehog sometimes. She's just all spiky. So she will climb into my lap and just beg me to preen her. And sometimes she won't let me get up. She just wants me to keep petting her and giving her scritches and working on these little pin feathers for her that she can't reach on her neck and on her head. And in doing so, boy, that lifts my spirits. It makes me feel so much better, and it helps get me through each day. When little Murray is just determined to hang out on me and be with me in every moment and everything I'm doing. Holy cow, life doesn't get any better than that. My birds are what's keeping me going right now. And all I'm asking is for you guys to stick with me for a little bit. I would love your support. If you've got it in you to help out with the Patreon or with a Buy Me a Coffee, anything is appreciated, and I promise you it all goes to the operating costs of putting this podcast on. And with that said, I think I'm just going to leave this here. It's just going to be a short little itty-bitty episode this time, just to let you know what's going on with me and the why. And so today is the 18th as I record this. I know I'm going to have some struggles in the upcoming week with the holiday coming up. I'll try to get an episode out, but it may be after the major Christmas holiday that I put another episode out. And then I think after that, I might have a really, really wonderful guest or two even lined up. And that's another area where I've had another huge difficulty, is just finding people that are willing to be on the show. And all that is, I can record over the phone. You don't have to be somewhere. You don't have to drive anywhere. I've got Zoom. I can record over Zoom. But if anyone out there has any really good sound ideas for guests, you know, any parrot rescues that would like to be represented here and draw some attention to them so they can get their message out to the world, oh my gosh, I would love to host some episodes with some rescues, with maybe a sanctuary, something like that. Veterinary clinics. Are there any avian vets out there? Does anyone have a really amazing avian vet that might be interested in being a guest? I would love to feature a vet on here. Do you know how many questions I have for an avian vet for a podcast? Oh my gosh, that would be excellent. So if any of you guys out there, I need to lean on you now. Holy cow, let me hear your suggestions. Email me, voiceoftheparrot@gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Facebook or message me on Instagram. Let's hear from you. And last but not least, speaking of hearing from all you guys, I haven't had any correspondence from anyone in a long time, and that's why I haven't even had Robo co-host Fred on. I don't have any emails to read. I want to hear from you guys. That used to be a thing. People would write to radio shows, podcasts, stuff like that. It's been like pulling teeth to get you guys to respond. I know you like listening. I see the numbers out there, but I'm not getting any participation. Let me know what you would like to have talked about on this podcast. Are there any topics you're dying to know about? Are there species of birds you'd like to hear about? Is there anything you would like? I want to hear from you. Come on, y'all have been really quiet out there. This is your time to shine. Help a girl out here. Oh my gosh, I want to hear from you. You can also, this is another huge way to support the podcast. It doesn't cost you a dime. Tell people about it. Share it. Share episodes. If you are in bird groups that do let you post links, you can tell people about the podcast. Hey, there's a really great little parrot podcast out there. It's entertaining and it's a lot of fun. You might get a kick out of it. Here's a link, voiceoftheparrot.show. And yeah, I need you guys to get the word out. Help spread the word. If you're in groups where people are struggling to learn about their birds, this might help them. It might give them food for thought. It might encourage them to go places other than Facebook to look for information. And yeah, we might need to make this a community effort, everyone. The problem is not enough parrot people out there or even pet people out there listen to podcasts. There's a few, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really hard to get numbers up, and it's really hard to get the word out. So word of mouth is the way to go. Great way to support the show. Won't cost you a dime. So I guess that's about all I got for you this time, folks. Thanks for listening to me talk. Here again, it's not that I'm complaining. It's just that's where I am in life right now. And boy, I'm juggling a lot. It's just me, the birds, and the dog. So I got to be the strong one for everyone here. Doing this all myself, and it's getting harder and harder in this big world. So thanks for sticking with me. Thanks for sticking around for this whole episode. It sure is appreciated. And stay tuned. I do have some great content lined up for the future. Oh my gosh. And until next time, go play with your birds. Go have fun with your birds. Go spend time with your birds. And it's the holiday season. Buy your birds a whole bunch of toys and spoil them rotten for the holiday. There's no more fun than that. They love getting presents too. Oh my gosh. All right, everyone. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.